Okay, Tony, here's what we're going to start with. I told you that G's got a lot of good stuff on here. Uh, this is where this video starts. You know that he's looking at this T. That's why his shoulders are turned too far. Why it's way too far of a turn back. Here's what we'll start with first. A line on his toes should be here. Okay, now when he steps, you can see that his toes stay pretty much in line. It's kind of hard to tell from the video. What I like for these kids to do better is keep the heels in line. Now he lands with a good open foot. And as you can tell, he steps in a little bit. Okay, that's the first thing we can you can work on him with. Two. Sorry, I always get confused in this. Right here you can see where his shoulder is. You can see this line here. We'll go ahead and call that his starting point since he's cockeyed so far as it is. But you look, he's already starting to open his shoulders. His foot's not down, and he's already starting to uncoil the top. You can see the foot hits right there, and he's already starting to open up the top. And this front hip isn't quite opened yet. So he starts right there. You can see he comes down, down, down. Starts to open. His foot's still that far off the ground. What we want to do is keep them shoulders closed until that foot hits. These are the last things that go. I mean, this truly does look really good. Okay, one good thing he does here is you can see, well, you can't see because it's behind you, but his back elbow is higher than his front elbow. That's perfect. That's what we want to do. That's what I call the frame, is that there in the arms. And when he does go to open, first thing he does is he switches those. Now that elbow's down, this elbow's up. That's perfect. You shouldn't lose any relationship between the arms between here and honestly all the way till we get here. Okay, but what he is doing is, you can see where that elbow is here. It's out in front of the body. We want to get it more into the body. It should drop straight down from there, straight down into that hip, and it should be on that hip all the way into this position here where he's fully open. It's kind of hard to see with the bat the way it is, but his elbow is way up here. Elbow's here. It needs to still be here on that hip. With that getting so far out front, which is something he's been taught, you've been taught, and I was taught, was we want to drive our hands to the ball. They want to do that to stay inside, but you can't get that elbow that far out. You can see he's all the way open, and that bat is still way back here. And that is a circle. I don't want a circle. That bat's still way back here. He's open. That bat should already be behind the ball. Right there. When he's this far open. If that elbow's here on his hip, this bat's going to come already from this position into this position. So he would already be behind the ball. Now what he is doing good is he's keeping his hands above the bat head. That's good. You can see he's already on plane there. But with his hands so far ahead and his elbow so far ahead, that's keeping the bat too far. There's too much bat drag, too much bat lag. Now from here, I'll explain something else here in a second. Let's get right. As you can see, he swings, that foot plants, and there's still some flex in that knee as he crashes into it. Now, from foot plant, I like how his body does go forward. You can see here to foot plant, he went that far. That is very good. However, once we get to this point, and like I said, he's already opening up. Well, I say he's opening up. That's probably more normal. That's probably pretty good, considering the fact that he closed off so much. Now, once this foot plants here, I'll give him that much give in his front knee right there. That's where we should be landing there, with the knee more over the ankle and that angle, not a plant and then fall into it. So you can see how he hits, and there's still a little give. And what you'll see, go up one more frame, is that head continues to move. One more frame, still moving. One more frame, still moving. One more frame, still moving a little bit. One more frame, still moving. It pretty much stops right there. And you can see from his ankle to his head, you got this. That angle right there. If he will land with his foot, his front leg with that kind of angle, and his head here, he should keep that right there is a good angle. That's a good little back link. That'll let you get that slightly upward. If he stays on that plane right there, you don't want to go past that. And as you can see, he goes past it and gets just a little too straight. All right. So what we do is when we land here, this knee is going to straighten up, and that leg's going to come completely straight. We will plant, that will straighten up, driving this hip back, taking that back hip and driving it forward. That's where we get our rotation. That's going to cause him to rotate, leaving his hands back, not letting his hands and arms drive this swing, but letting his core. So we want to stop there, straighten that up. That drives this hip forward, that hip back, that rotates us, and our head will be perfectly still from that point. It should not move from there. Now there's going to be a little tilt as he rotates around, obviously, but what we don't want it to do is hit and keep going. Okay? Now a lot of this is, like I said, it has nothing to do with him not being strong enough, and has a lot to do with just his age and the muscular development of somebody that age. And now you can see that, and a lot of this is from him just trying to hit the ball so hard, which is a good thing. It's a good aggressive swing. Okay, and one other thing here, the last thing I really want to talk about here, he's obviously got his head down on the ball. He's coming off the back foot. Love all that. At this point here, that front leg should definitely be straight, almost hyperextended, because that's what's driving the hips. What he's actually doing is pushing off of his back leg when you're going to drive the hips with your front leg. Okay, from here you can see his hands are still in front of his shoulder, right where they started. I did a stupid circle again. Right where they started, bat head's below the hands. Beautiful. Okay, you go one more frame. If he's got it right, this bat will be more here behind the ball, and it'll be a straight push from that shoulder forward. Now that's hard to do with his elbow way up here. It's more of a sling. Now, what we want to do is we want to push and drive the bat through the ball. We're not actually swinging the bat, even though it's called swinging. We don't want to swing. We want to turn into it hard with that short arc to get behind the ball, and we want to drive through it and push through it. You're hitting with your hips, and you're just letting the hands and arms carry the bat and hold on to it as it flies through the zone. And you can see right here, this still isn't bad. Here's where it goes a little bonkers. You can see his hands will stay on a downward path as he starts to roll early. And the hands go down, and the hands continue down, and he never really gets that true extension. When we get to this point, now this doesn't look bad here. if his head hadn't moved forward, he'd have a real good angle. Now this is a good point. He hits a lot of good spots in the swing. With these arms at this point, if you take that bat, because a pitch is actually coming at this angle. You know that. It's coming downhill. So we want to take the bat on this angle. And what you'll do is turn this bat into an extension of the arms. And at this point, the wrist will not be rolled. And both bats are going to carry, or both arms is going to carry that bat to point a direct line right at the pitcher. That will give you the arc from behind the ball, following the path of the pitch, up in that direction. It'll give you that swing path, more or less. And that's going to be the path of the ball coming in. Yeah, it looks up. You've always been taught to swing level. Well, that's actually on level plane with the ball. If you swing on this level, you're actually going to be cutting under the ball. And if you drive your hands down like we're taught, you can see where it crosses the line. Obviously, if you swing up, it's going to cross there. So what we want to do is we want to get behind the ball early, drive through the ball on the direct plane that it's traveling. On that finish, two-hand finish don't really matter to me, but you can see how the swing kind of loops and comes back around as he does his finish, because he's went down and he's rolling over, and then it comes back up. What he'll actually do is he'll take here, hands stay on that same plane there, bat head's already behind the ball, take and push out, not down, and that bat will start coming up over, would come through on this plane, and then it's going to swing around his head this way. And as you can see, his bat follows a little shallower path. Other than that, man, I truly do like a lot of what I see here. I like the aggressiveness. I like that his body's going forward. He does good. His knee's inside his ankle, so it will make him go forward. He doesn't have to push at all. He'll get this right. Drop that elbow in there. Stiffen that leg up. And from this point, it should take him one frame to get to that spot, not two. Well, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess. But if he'll drop that in there, stiffen that leg up, he would already be flat in 1, 2, maybe 3. We'll call it 3. His bat would already probably be right there if we get that elbow back and drive that front hip open.